experience in the chiropractic field is only limited to my education at Sherman College, which still I think is the best chiropractic school to go to, no matter what. Philosophy's in here. You keep it with you long enough, it won't matter where you went to school. So I come from the aspect of, I just thought about what I would do to try to explain to somebody who had no idea what any of the stuff that we all know about inside and out. Somebody just walks in and says, okay, chiropractor, fix me. Tell me what I need to know to be healthy. And so the first thing that I thought of was my guitar sitting in my house. And the best way to explain it because I know this guy inside and out, no problem. So why not be able to use something that I know very well to explain to someone else who knows nothing about chiropractic and kind of put them together. So let's just imagine for 1 second that this is the brain, because this is the brain of this guitar. Without this, I can't control what these strings do. Now let's, for another instant, assume that these strings are nerves. Now what I do here affects what comes down here into this F hole. Well, it's not an F hole, but it's just what they used to call it. And then it projects out towards you. So if I'm screwed up here, what do you think is going to happen out here? And see, that's just at its basic level. So what I wanted to start with was basically getting someone to understand the maintenance model, which is, in my mind, the best way to go, because an educated patient is a healthy patient, period. There is no other way about it. So who can tell me what's wrong with this guitar just by looking at it? Is it messed up? Does it look terrible? Does it look beat up? Absolutely not. It's beautiful on the outside. Just like all of us look perfectly fine when we walk in the door. But there could be a lot of stuff going on underneath. So I'm going to play an E. How's that sound? Terrible. And it makes you want to die inside, basically. So that's patient Uno coming in the door. He looks great. He feels great. And that is still an E, but it's not a perfect E. It's not expressing its full potential. So, that's an E. I'm going to make a little adjustment and get closer to the good one. That's the first adjustment. Go home. I'll see you in 2 days. Now, come back the next couple of days. I get your first 2 strings figured out. Congratulations. Why aren't I better? Still out of tune, but I've made 2 adjustments. So let's make another adjustment a couple of days later. And another adjustment. And she's better for now. So the point I would try to make to somebody, if this was like 4 kids sitting in front of me that hated guitar and didn't care, I can't fix you with 1 adjustment. I can't just tune this guy and make the whole thing sound like that. And if you go out and I play this guitar all day long and just beat it up, eventually I'm going to have to make another adjustment. Woo! So my principle was number 32, and it's basically the coordination. Coordination creates harmony amongst all the parts of an organism in all of its offices and purposes. So what I wanted to explain was that energy is a big deal. The reason why all of you knew that I played a nasty sour chord before. You knew that the guitar was out of tune, not knowing how to play guitar at all. We innately know what harmony feels like, and we know when something is good, and we know when something is bad. So that's an E, right? Well, that's not an E. You know that there's a difference between those 2. And you know that that's not an E. And you know that this ain't an E. This ain't an E, but these 2 are. They sound good together. They're perfect. So all the parts, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, they're all completely individual. They're all different chords. They're all different notes. They all resonate at a different frequency. But when you play them together, you get the organism. These are the cells. This is the tissue. This is the organism. And this is the human body. So what is a song? A song is being able to execute complex things in the body. So you could say that the more complicated the song, the more complex the job of the cell or the organism or the tissue or the human body. So you could say that something difficult to play that's really hard to figure out could be immunity. But just breathing, pretty songs, things like that. Stuff you can just do while I can play guitar while I'm talking. So I would consider that to be breathing. But there's certain things that I can't do. I can't play some things and talk at the same time, and I would consider that a complex cellular job that needs to have coordination and harmony in order to work at its highest potential, which is what innate intelligence is, which is getting me to my next point. If I'm innate intelligence, this is the human body. This is how you see things that go wrong in your body. If there's something wrong up here, it's going to come out here and it will be expressed either physically or mentally or whatever it is that brought to the forefront, something's wrong with me, I need to get it fixed. Now, innate intelligence is me. Imagine that I'm innate intelligence. I'm always going to have 100% ability to play the guitar. No matter what guitar gets put in front of me, I can play it. I'm always going to have the ability to play the guitar. But if I have a guitar that's out of tune or that's busted or broken, it's going to limit my ability to show you that I can play the guitar. That's innate intelligence, and that is the limitation of matter and the time and stuff that we deal with our patients on a regular basis. Also, let's think about the simplest of simplest, even the stuff that Ted was talking about, even if it's in the sternum. It's a blockage, it's an interference. So this always sounds good, but what if I put my hand on the strings? You get nothing. You get a little bit. You get even more. But until you get rid of that subluxation completely, you're not going to see its full expression. The other thing about energy that I wanted to talk about was harmony. So the body will always recognize that these two guys sound good together. And even these sound good together. It takes you to another place. But not because the song sounds good, but because the atoms inside all of our cells are vibrating at a certain frequency. Now, all of us have a different frequency, obviously, which makes every person different. If we were all the same, then the medical model would work, wouldn't it? So you have to treat the individual for the individual. You have to treat them as their frequency. I can't say, okay, if I adjust your atlas over here, then your son, if I adjust his atlas in the same exact way, it's going to be perfectly fine. It can't be. Everybody's got a different frequency. So going back, I looked up Bruce Lipton to see if he had anything on frequency, because I kind of remember the stuff he talked about. So the nasty chord that I play that's gross, and I'll just make one up. It's gross. That's me dropping the little pebble in the pond. When I do that, everybody feels that, including me, and I don't like it, and we react. That is simple vibration and simple frequency. And so we'll call that destructive interference, is what he calls it in his book. So you imagine these two waves. There's your wave, and there's my wave giving you the guitar wave. When they get together, they stop. We don't like it. We don't want any more. So then the cells react. And I would be even convinced to say that if I played a nasty chord for you all day, every day, you would get depressed and you would see physical symptoms. Now let's talk about constructive interference. I'm still interfering with you by playing a pretty chord, but it's in a good way. So here comes the nasty wave. Well, here comes the good wave of the guitar, and here's your good wave. They come together and they make one big, awesome wave. And that's why music is the universal language, because you don't have to understand what's going on. You just innately know that it's good. And so I can sit here and do this all day, and you will feel like $1 million. So that's why I liken a chiropractic adjustment will remove the interference between me, innate intelligence, and how it is expressed. And you will get the full expression of how it needs to be expressed. And then with the vibration and the frequency and things like that, by removing the interference, we put forth a positive energy into a human being, and they will react positively. And so even if it's a guitar, if it's music, it doesn't matter. Frequency is frequency. Vibration is vibration. It's inside all of us, and it's inside all of our patients. So once we put the positive energy in, we're going to get a positive reaction. And I would consider every adjustment to be a constructive interference, because we're not getting in the way, we're removing that which is in the way. So I pretty much got nothing else after that except let's just be a pretty E chord.